Salam alaikum, my dear brother Saeed. Okay. All right. Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah, wa rabbil alameen. Akibatun lil muslimin. Wa Allah fi kulli umri esta'in. Wa Allah fi kulli umri amjid. إنه ربي يحب المؤمن الذي يصلي وعبادته وصلواته نحافظ الله الذي أنزل كتابا هو فرقان للناس محمدا هو سيدنا محبوبنا وإنه كان رسول نبيا صلوات الله تعالى وسلامه عليه. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته لإخواني وأخواتي في دين وسلام على من يتبع الهدى لإخواني وأخواتي في أمريكا وسنديز أوروبا آسيا وكل مكان. Ahlan wa sahlan bikum. Well, my dear brothers and sisters, thank you for showing up, and those who will in the future. Assalamu alaikum, my dear sister Amina. And I'll be closing today on this last important topic of the Quran, the people of the Quran. How important it is for us is because of the importance of knowing the special categories in Islam that subhanahu wa ta'ala he loves. There are certain people, and he's given us, as I said many times, indicators in the Quran, those who he loves. And he also gives indicators of those who he loathes. He does not like them. And he does not want us following them, and he warns us against them. And this is why, in essence, the Quran was sent down to the most perfect, the best human being possible in our prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam. And then he transmitted this book to us. And so we, as Muslims, should be very fortunate that we have such a prophet, and all the prophets of old that we love and we revere. So the Aqla Quran, the people of the Quran, Aqla Allah, as I've explained before, are those who are is very few around. Okay, let's be honest, very, very few today around. But they will come in unison, as I said. When the Mahdi, when he comes, then these individuals will be present everywhere around the world, and it'll be, a Islamic caliphate that will encompass the whole world. So let's start here. I'm going to talk about, and left off last week, about a warning from subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I want to read. I didn't get a chance to read a little bit of the tafsir of this from our famous Sheikh Al-Din Rahim Allah Qurtubi. And he gave a beautiful tafsir of this one verse, which is in chapter 20. And chapter 20 is Ta'ah. And remember, the number is 130. The verse is 130. What's significant about this particular verse, my brothers and sisters, is that he subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving you something that that helps you to, I guess what you would say, look forward to, something that subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us. and to the movement, his promise. So he says here, therefore, be patient with what they say. Celebrate the praises of thy Lord before the rise of sun and before the setting. Yea, celebrate them part of the night, and at sides of the day that thou mayest have joy. This is important, my brothers and sisters, because here Subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving you a directive. The way to get close to be one of these people of the Qur'an, you have to be praising Subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as we specified many times, by reading the Quran is one of the ways. It's one of the best ways. It is the best. Then making dhikr Allah, of course, to Subhanahu wa ta'ala, to ask him, to ask for forgiveness and ask things of you. Pray for the ummah, pray for your families, and pray for the ummah in general. And also pray against the enemies of Islam, and also pray for the relief for the Muslimin who are being slaughtered, killed, persecuted around the world, like the Rohingya and Myanmar, and what's happened to our brothers, the Uyghurs in China, and so forth, and in Kashmir. It goes all the way down the line. So this is important that we do this in order to get the attention of Subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you are a sincere believer, because it's okay to say you're Muslim, but when you don't pick up the book, if you don't pick up his book and read it, I mean, that's very troubling. But we have Muslims like that, as we specified today, who do not pick up the Quran. We understand the rat race. We understand the dunya. But when you use the dunya as your primary function of your life from day in the morning over that of Subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's where the trouble begins. Because the difference between the modern Muslim and the movement is that the movement, even though he lives in LA, even though he lives in Washington, D.C., or he lives in Paris, France, his day is geared around the salat, meaning the praising of Subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the difference between the movement and the Muslim. The Muslim, he goes about his day, yes, he may, the van comes, he goes and he lazily does his prayer. But the movement, his day is geared. When he wakes up in the morning, he goes to the Quran to do what? To read the Tahajjud prayer before Fajr prayer. Then he makes meticulous wudu, and then his prayer for Salat al-Fajr. Then he goes to work. Okay, in the West, we know you have to go to work. He goes to work, but he understands, and he's constantly aware of the time of the next Salat, which is Salat al-Dhuhr. So that's the difference. His day is built around the Salat, which is a sign of a movement. The Muslim modern is not geared around the Salat. It's geared around the dunya. And his, how many bills he's got this. All of us have days like this. We all will think, but the movement is geared around the Salat. The modern Muslim today is not geared around the Salat. It is geared around the dunya, around the worldly life. How much money he has, how much money he's going to get, well, how he's going to do this or how he's going to do that, how many girlfriends he's going to possess, well, how he's going to trick somebody in doing something like this. This is the modern. We have these modern Muslims today who do this. So this is a big difference. In our lives, we have something that is really troubling, that I would say to you that we as Muslims must do better, because we are the ambassadors on this earth, for Subhanahu wa ta'ala. We must praise him. But how do we project that we are the ambassadors when we don't know the book? And this is the problem. In this particular ayat in the Quran, there's some things that is very troubling, I guess, with the Muslims. And Sheikh Qurtubi wrote something that is really, how can I say? He gives an indication on how, excuse me, I got to go back to, Let's go to Hayat 124, in the same one, Surah 20, Ta'a, and the verse is 124. Subhanahu wa ta'ala here sounds angry, and he also sounds like he's giving you a dire warning. Again, he says, but whoever turns away from my message, verily for him is a narrow life down, and we shall raise him up blind on the day of judgment. Blind on the day of judgment. You made 16,000 salats, but you turned away from his message because you don't read the Quran, you don't understand it. He raises you up blind. You can make salat, you can make psalm, but if you don't pick up the book of the Quran, you don't pick up this Quran and learn it and speak it and write it and memorize it, then this is what's going to happen to you. Here's what Sheikh Qurtubi says here, which is very beautiful. And I'll read some of this in the Arabic language. Wa sabaru ala ma yakuluna Sheikh Qurtubi. He says here that, and I'll read the rest of this in English because I forgot we don't have Arabic speakers, that he wants us to have patience, okay? Patience in all things and everything we do. Secondly, he wants us to what? To pick up the Quran, read it, learn it. And when the sun rises, we think about the Quran and that in it and implement it. Then he also says here, he wants that subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us is that we read it, but we put it in our hearts. Then we get up and do our worldly life. Meaning we get up, we read the Quran, we put it in the heart, we try to implement it, and then we understand the dunya. You got to go to work. You have bills. You got problem inside the house. You have your son is acting up, this type of thing. We understand that. Subhanahu wa ta'ala understands that too. But he's trying to tell you that we have something that will help you, and it is the Quran. It's to put it in the heart. He makes things much easier for the movement. Yes, you will get tested. There's not one Muslim who says he's a Muslim has not been tested, and he will continue to be tested to the time he gets to the grave. You can't just walk out of the house, like I say, without being tested, and you just say you're Muslim and that's it. You're going to be tested with something. You're going to lose money. You're going to lose a job. You're going to lose a wife. You'll lose a house. You'll have things happen to you that to test you to see if you will stop to pray and stop to be a Muslim because of the dunya. This is what subhanahu wa ta'ala will test you on. Now, what is the purpose of being Akhl Quran? The purpose is what? Is to be a spokesman for the Quran, to be a beacon of light for your brothers and sisters in Islam who are weaker, to be a ambassador to those non-Muslims who see you as who try to figure out about the Muslims. They see you as a beacon of light as well, and they see you meticulously, even at work. They notice how you are. When everybody's smoking and drinking, taking breaks, they see you go and get the Quran. When something comes down, they see how polite you are with the people. When it's time to eat, they notice how you eat. It's meticulous. There's no pork. There's no wine. There's no beer. There's no abuses of big old sodas and 6 or 7 hamburgers from McDonald's and this type of thing. They watch how you act. This is the Akhl Quran. This is the people of the Quran. They are very meticulous in everything they do because the Quran is in their heart and in their mind, is on their lips and in their hands by their actions. This is the difference between the Muslims, the modern Muslim, and that of the Akhl Quran. But again, be honest, very few of us are in this fraternity because it's very difficult. It's very difficult, as I specified last week. There's another ayat in Surah Yunus, Surah Yunus. He's 57, 57. And okay, Subhanahu wa ta'ala says, this is Surah 10, and the Hayat is in 57. O mankind, there hath come to you a direction from your Lord, and a healing for the diseases in your heart, and for those who believe, a guidance and a mercy. Again, my brothers and sisters, you cannot be a Muslim if you don't believe this. If you don't believe that the Quran and the word of Subhanahu wa ta'ala is a mercy, and that it can purify you, then you're not a Muslim. You're a disbeliever. How can you claim to follow Subhanahu wa ta'ala when in fact you don't believe in what he says in his book? You don't pick up his book, and you don't believe that. So you just go through the motions to tell everybody I'm a Muslim. And we have that today. But they don't believe that it's a guidance. They don't believe that it gives you tranquility. They don't believe it's a mercy. They don't believe that it cures the diseases of the heart. They don't believe that. So how can this person be a Muslim if this is the case? How you doing? Salam alaikum, Mr. Uganda. How you doing, my dear brother? And so anyway, how can you as a Muslim and Jew and Christian also don't pick up your book to read it? How? How can you profess this particular religion when you don't pick it up? That's one. Secondly, to understand the words of Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now we understand what has happened to the Torah. We understand what's happened to the Injil, the New Testament and all that. We understand the corruption to it. But the Muslims, you have no excuse, because Subhanahu wa ta'ala has told you that he was not going to let his book be corrupted. And this has happened. He has not allowed it to be. In his 1400 years. Still, we have the enemy trying to corrupt it, and it's no good. We know that the Chinese government tried to change the Quran, and try to word it to a certain degree. We have women groups now who want to change, and some have to even change the Quran to make it more feminine, so to speak, by making things like in Arabic, huwa, they say he is girl, a woman, girl, woman, female, and huwa means he, but also there's some other things in grammar in Arabic as well, but they want to change that around. So we have a lot of enemies of Islam who are trying to change the book of Subhanahu wa ta'ala, but it doesn't work. And so when we have something like this, we have to believe that Subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of us if we believe. We have to believe this, my brothers and sisters. We have to, even our brothers close in religion, the Jews and Christians, they must have the same faith that Subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless you and help you if you retain what he says. This is the important, and you implement this into your life. Because my brothers and sisters, why you go to a church or a synagogue or to a masjid and you walk out of there and you don't take anything in, you don't implement any of what you've learned or what you've heard, and you go about your business. So what's the use going? See, this is what we're talking about. We have to be reticent. Reticent meaning, in this case, reticent on ourselves, meaning we should be look at ourselves and say, you know what, I'm weak. And I do this all the time. I admit to Subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm weak. I need guidance. I need help. I need assistance. This is important, brothers and sisters, that you humble yourself before Subhanahu wa ta'ala, because none of us have the power to do many things as we think we can. You must humble yourself. You must admit to Subhanahu wa ta'ala that you are weak. And that way, the guidance, you are more accepting. Why people can't come to Islam is because they don't want to make this submission. They want to believe that their own power is greater than that of his. So therefore, he can't see himself humble himself, even making prayer, even a prostration. All the prophets made prostrations. We have arguments many times with our dear brothers, the Christians and the Jews, about this issue. All of the prophets made prostrations before Subhanahu wa ta'ala. all the prophets basically made evolution before they make their prayer to Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. They all have done this. It's even in the Bible. You can read it. It's there. It talks about what happened when Isa getting ready to go in there, what he did with his feet and so forth and so on. There's things in there to show you that you as a person who worships, you must follow the guide of the prophets and see how they do. Because if you don't do this, then, basically you almost, I would say, hypocrite, because you're professing one thing, but actually you don't believe in the thing that you profess. That's not good. And this is a disease of the heart. And that's why Subhanahu wa Ta'ala talks about here is that the Quran, his word, is such that it can cleanse you, it can nourish you, it can strengthen you. But one of the things how you get strengthened is not arrogance. And most of us as human beings, we have this arrogance. So how do we maintain this? By making ourselves humble. We're weak. Even sometimes we should even cry on certain circumstances, especially in prayer, because that's between you and Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Nobody's there to intercede. You pray to Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. You ask for forgiveness. You say, look, I'm weak in this matter. I see the beer bottle over here. I'm weak, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. I'm weak. Please strengthen me because I see the beer bottle. I want it. Or the fornicator who's having problems because he lives in the Western world and he's a handsome young man. He's got problems because he has girlfriends. He shouldn't have that. He humbles himself. He cries before Subhanahu wa Ta'ala in the prostration and say, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, please purify me from this. I don't want to fornicate no more. I don't want to go around all these women who are not my wife. This is the things you should be saying as a strong believer, that Subhanahu wa Ta'ala will cleanse you, and he will in his time, but he will test you. As we said many times, he will test you. When you say, okay, I'm weaned off from this, I'm not going to drink anymore. He'll do something. You'll go to a store or something. Suddenly there's a advertisement of the beer that you like, and it's right there in front of your face, and it's half price. Subhanahu wa Ta'ala will see what you're going to do. Are you going to pick up that bottle and you're going to look left and right because you don't know, because you're thinking people knows what pledge you made? They don't know that because you made that pledge with Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Then you go get that bottle. And we have this happen. The guy go pick up the bottle, he gets ready to pay for it, and then his heart comes and tells him, Yahya, don't do this. He goes back. So what has happened in a case like this? You were sinful at the beginning, but because you did not act upon it, you didn't pay for the bottle and take it, you get a reward for this. This is how beautiful our religion is. Subhanahu wa Ta'ala understands that we're human beings and we're going to make these errors, but we still get reward when we don't do it. What we have in our heart, when you're thinking about, oh man, how much I want that drink, I want that bottle, I want to get this Coke 45, I want to drink it, and so forth and so on. He knows it's in your heart. It's a demerit, but it's a half a demerit. And when you don't act on it, it's a full azure that you get because you did not act upon what your heart was telling you. This is the things that we talk about that makes the difference in the Qur'an, the people of the Quran, and those who just barely get through their religion. This is very troubling because most of us today, let's face it, we are like everybody else. We follow everybody else. We don't really follow those we should be following. We follow the others. And then we say, well, look, there's no harm. I follow these people here. I follow this, or I follow that, and I follow this way. When in fact, it is wrong because Subhanahu wa Ta'ala didn't tell you to do this. But many of us today, we're weak like this, and we do this, and this is why we get in trouble. Now, let's look at some things here. The Qur'an, he learns the Quran, and then what does he do with it? He goes and tries to establish this Quran among the people, among his brethren. This is not easy in modern time. Now, in the West, I will say this. In the West, you have easier time, to be honest, than most Muslim countries today, because you can go and have what we call jetsas. It means your session of the Quran where you read it and you discuss the Quran. This is coming outdated in many Muslim countries. Can you believe this? Can you believe this is being outdated? We have police coming to go arrest Muslims who's doing this. They come to bust up the meetings when Muslims do this. This is in some Muslim countries that we have this today. If they go to try to have meetings where they discuss the Quran after work, they come and they with the Jet to Quran is what it's called, and you go there and you have the intelligence agencies come to bombard the place. We have this. So the West have this advantage in this degree that they allow that to happen because of their constitutions. But the Sharia Islamiyah is against it. But because most of the Muslim countries don't enforce the Sharia, now they're more into worldly things. They go after the Muslims who actually pick up the Quran and read it and establish it among his friends and those around him. This is what is ordered by our Prophet ﷺ as well, is to get this book, learn it, and then get it to your family, get it to your friends and your brotherhood and your community, and establish the Quran among yourselves. And we have this in some parts of like I remember one time I saw this place in Virginia. It was on I forgot what station. It was an Arabic station. I just happened to look at it, and the African American brothers on top of that. And this one area, they were in a poor area. It was full of gangsters and everything. But these brothers came down in Tobes and Kufi, and they always made a point every Wednesday night to go to this one brother's house at night when they come back from work to go learn the Quran. And the gangsters left them alone. They never touched them. They respect them. Matter of fact, they showed the camera on them. They say, hey, salam, brother, and so forth and so on. And they established the reading of the Quran inside the house with this one brother every Wednesday. In the Muslim world, in many places, you can't do that today. I have to be honest. It's true, you cannot. But I will say this, in Al Maghrib, we have that. The sisters in particular, they are on it. The sisters here at Al Maghrib means Morocco in Arabic. Morocco is in English, but in Arabic it's Al Maghrib for those who didn't know. Here we on it. And we have brothers too that are also have just the Quran. But with the media now, with what they call it, I can't think what they call this now, this thing where you can have 500 people in your room and YouTube, not YouTube, I forgot what they call that. But now they have that, which makes it easier because of the virus. A lot of times you can't have meetings anymore because you don't know who's infected, and it's dangerous too. So you can use the medium to have, your justice of Quran. So it's important. But here, the Akhl Quran, he establishes the Quran among himself, his family, and his community. He tries his best to do that. But again, my brothers and sisters, if you live in a draconian country, some of the Muslim countries today are like this. Don't take a chance. If the powers to be tell you we don't want you doing it, don't do it. Subhanahu wa ta'ala understands that. So be very careful of that. Don't do something that'll get you in trouble. Even though we know it's against the Sharia, we know that they're wrong what they do. But you must be prudent and you must have patience. And you say, okay, don't do it. Read the Quran inside the house with your family. Not stopping that. But they're going to stop. They don't want you to go around and gather 10 brothers to hit the books and study and so forth. They don't want that. If you do it on your own, they don't care. You do it with your wife and your kids at home, they don't care about that. So you follow what they tell you. And in your heart, you know you want to establish it there, but you can't. That's the difference, my brothers and sisters. Be careful of that. Make sure that you always don't put yourself in peril. You remember the hadith of a prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam. Don't put yourself in peril. Meaning, if you see there's a cliff there, there's 1,000, cliff is 1,000 feet up. You can't go to the cliff and walk off it and say, Subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to protect me. So why you put yourself in peril? Subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't order that. Our prophet didn't order you to do this. You can't do that. Don't put yourself in peril. You know the man standing there with a gun, he tells you to leave. You don't sit there and start talking to him and tell him, well, Subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to protect me. You put yourself in peril. You walk away. He telling you to get out, you go. He's got a gun. So why you can put yourself in peril? This is what we're talking about here. The brothers can't establish salat. They can't establish the Quran inside the home of one of the brothers. Don't do it. If they're going to come to get you, don't do it. If they threaten you, don't do it. They tell you don't do it, don't do it. So I'm hoping that guidance, because we have this, and they get cracked over the head. People go to the jail. Things happen to disappear. Just be mindful that we have a lot of enemies today. and they don't want you reading the Quran. They want you to be misguided. So be careful of that, my brothers and sisters. Okay. And also here is the chapter is chapter 38, and that's Sod. And the verse is 29. And this again is the surah is 38, and the verse is 29. Subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Here is a book which we have sent down unto thee, full of blessings, that they may meditate on its signs, and that men of understanding may receive admonition." This is what Subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you when you pick up his book and you read it and you begin to understand it, and when you begin to implement it. He tells you here that the book is full of blessings, that you may meditate on its signs, meaning you read it, you ponder what Subhanahu wa ta'ala said. You don't just pick it up and then put it out and hey, go back to dunya and go back to looking at the woman, going back to smoking and drinking and hanging around with the brothers in the hood and so forth and so on. That's not what he's talking about. He's talking about to reflect on his book. When you reflect on his book and on his words, you're not going to go hang around with the brothers in the hood. You're not going to do that, stand on the corner and talking a lot of mess and stuff like that. No, you're not going to do that. You're not going to go out there and start rapping and stuff with all of the sisters in town and stuff like that. You're not going to do that. This is what Subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about here. And the men of understanding. The Muslims are supposed to be men of understanding. That's right, my brothers. You, as a Muslim, you're supposed to be men of understanding. Why? Because you have the best prophet, the seal of the prophet. Secondly, you have the best book. This book has not been tampered with. It's not been corrupted. You take the Bibles, 140 different versions of it. Our brothers, the Jews, what did they do? They created another book called the Talmud, and they changed things around, and they don't even follow the Torah. When Subhanahu wa ta'ala is ordered to follow the Torah, they didn't follow it. And you see that today in Israel today. You see that. Jews are like many modern Muslims today. They say they're Jewish, but they don't follow the Torah. You see? Or they follow the Talmud, which is racist. So again, that man of understanding, meaning you Muslim, you should be a man of understanding. This book gives you wisdom. It gives you guidance. It explains things how your life should run, how you're supposed to manage your home, how you're supposed to manage your affairs with your parents, how you're supposed to even manage affairs with the enemy. This book has that. The Quran have that. The Quran, he is versed in this. He's very well versed in this. He's almost an expert in it. He knows how to deal with the enemy the right way. And the right way is not what? Not getting bombs and killing disbelievers at McDonald's and so forth and so on. That's wrong. That's misguidance. That's not understanding. Because Subhanahu wa ta'ala has never ordered that. Our Prophet ﷺ never ordered that. These Muslims do that, don't follow that. And then when they say jihad or you hear them say Allahu Akbar, no, that's misguidance. That's criminal when they do this. We're not talking about that here. That's not understanding. That's misguidance and criminal. Here we talk about man of understanding, wisdom, guidance, forthright, patience. This is what we're talking about here. When Subhanahu wa ta'ala talks to men of understanding, that's what he's talking about. Not our brothers today who are doing this misguidance of killing and so forth in Muslim states and putting bombs on people's cars and killing innocent individuals. No, that's not guidance. That is not guidance from Subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's coming from the devil. So, just remember that, my brothers and sisters. Nobody should support that Muslim. You pray for him that you bring him back to the fold. That's all you can do. But don't support the Muslims like this. But on the same token, be careful making takfir against them until you know all of the ins and outs. But to stay away from the takfir anyway, because it's a very difficult and touchy subject. Be very careful. Takfir meaning the expedition of a Muslim, taking him out of Islam. You got to be very careful of that, because even though he's bombing, you don't know why he might have bombed. He might have set a bomb there because somebody's holding his family. and his baby there, his newborn, and they're gonna say, look, we're gonna take your baby, we're gonna throw it in the river somewhere, and unless you go over and put this package in the store, you do it because you love your child and you have fear and you have so much fear. You're not a disbeliever in this situation. You understand? That's why you have to be very careful. You can't take fear unless you have all the conditions met. That's a class in itself, and I'm just kind of giving you something about that. Now, also Surah Muhammad, which is Surah, I always get this. I think it's 47. 47, I think it is. Yeah. I got this English translation of it too. I always get confused because I always read in Arabic, and when everything is written in English. And okay, but anyway, Surah Muhammad, basically, Hayat 24, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala again tells you that the Quran helps and purifies the heart and in your actions. That's important. My brothers and sisters, when you have purification of the heart, it's not only just the purification and the word, it's also in your actions. Again, we go back to the same issue. Me, say, Yahya, I have a problem. I know what I like to do. I like to go and play cards. Okay, say for instance, for example, I don't know how to play cards, but I'm just saying for example, I know I like to go do that. So I asked Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, look, please, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, please, can you strengthen me from playing cards and stuff like that? Okay, this what we're talking about here. You got to, if you're actually really sincere, you would stop this particular vice, right? If you're purified from it, you won't do this. If you say you're purified, but you go do it, you still got work to do. And my brothers and sisters, we have many people in that. We have people caught up in drugs. We have people caught up in dating. We got people caught up in being gangsters. Especially, I heard like in England, the Muslims are some of the worst gangsters in places like London and Birmingham. I mean, it's shocking to hear that the Muslims are actually more gangster than some of the non-believers, and we have that today. So it's troubling. So we as Muslims have to be ready for this purification, asking for it. But once we get it, we maintain it to the best of our ability. This is what we must do as Muslims. Now, the person of Al-Qur'an, he is protector of the remembrance of Subhanahu wa Ta'ala in his house, in the masjid, and every other place there is. This is important. Be careful, my brothers and sisters. I talked about this one time. Be very careful on how you use the words in the Quran when you're outside of Salat, outside of reading the Quran. Don't use Subhanahu wa Ta'ala's name continuously. Say, Yahya, what are you talking about? What's wrong with that? There's 99 names. So why can't we use them? You use them. But if you look at the Sahaba and you look at the first favorite generations and the generation after that, you look at our scholars, our most famous scholars, you watched how, and you read this again in Arabic. I know they have this in Arabic, but you read their letters and what they've wrote, and they are meticulous about using the name of Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and they use it at the right time. Today, as I specified before, Muslims will say Alhamdulillah over everything. Subhanallah over everything. Allahu Akbar over everything. This is wrong. This misuse and abuse of the name of Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. You have to follow with our Prophet. Our Prophet didn't do that. Alayhi salatu wasalam. He didn't do it. The Sahaba did not do this. They didn't walk down the street every other little word. I'm not talking when they're making dhikr. Dhikr is different. You can do this. And dhikr, it says here to protect that. But the dhikr is here where you make it in unison. You're talking about Alhamdulillah, 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 Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. That's different. But if you're not making dhikr and you're walking and every other thing is, you see a car, oh, Allahu Akbar. Or you see two brothers stand on the corner, Allahu Akbar, Alhamdulillah. No, it's wrong. You must use this at the right time. Remembrance of subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't mean that you use his names and you use Islamic phrases every minute of the day. Meaning, I go turn off the light, oh, alhamdulillah. No. You can't do that. This is, again, the sign of a hypocrite who does this. I see this, hear this all the time. I see people, I always joke about, it's not a joke, but I talk about this. I see people using subhanahu wa ta'ala's name 1,000 times. They don't even pray. They don't even go to the masjid. They don't even make Jummah. And you see them, alhamdulillah, subhanallah, Allahu Akbar. You hear them say all this stuff, and they have nothing to do with any of the worship of subhanahu wa ta'ala. None whatsoever. This is very dangerous. And also, as I always remind you, be very careful, my brothers and sisters, of what changing the word of subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran. I'll get on this subject again, inshallah, when I start going into kalam Allah, the words of Allah in a chapter, because this is important. Because there's one term in particular that is very dangerous, and there's offshoots of this word inside the Quran, and subhanahu wa ta'ala has laid it out. It can send you to the fire, my brothers and sisters. The best thing for you to do when you pick up this book, you learn it and understand it and be taught it. Because why? If you don't do this and you misrepresent subhanahu wa ta'ala, it can send you to the fire. Be very careful for this. And this is tabdal. This is the word. And you see it in the Quran a lot. The changing the meaning of the Quran. Some of us don't mean that. And I don't mean this disrespectfully. They don't mean to misrepresent the Quran. We understand that. But they have misrepresented the Quran when they took a verse and used some other method for it. You cannot do that, my brothers and sisters. It's wrong. That's not tafsir. This is the changing of his word. Subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't love that. And he take you down for that. So be very mindful and be very careful of that, my brothers and sisters. Learn the deen, accept it that you're weak in it. Ask subhanahu wa ta'ala for guidance. Learn it and then teach it. And you're on your way, my brothers and sisters. But be mindful, because this happens a lot of times. You see people, they'll get a verse in the Quran. They don't know how to make a correspondence between this and the hadith of our Prophet, ﷺ. They don't know how to calculate that. And there's another verse that might have abrogated this in the Quran. They don't know this. And I gave that story many times about one brother did this to a married couple. And he didn't realize that what he had told them was abrogated. Until what happened was somebody got a hold of me to tell me, and then I corrected, and alhamdulillah, this couple didn't break up over it, but they could have. That's why I'm saying, my brothers and sisters, it's very dangerous. Be very mindful of that and be very careful of that. Okay, we are close to, in this particular fraternity, is difficult to be in, as I explained before. But in some ways it's easy, because you know why? You know it's standing there. There's no wall blocking you. Subhanahu wa ta'ala is letting you come. If you only ask for this guidance, see if he will let you become part of that. Now, we know that most likely most of us cannot be part of that, but at least we try, and we think that we could be part of this. But we know that in the future, this particular group of people, them and the Daifatin Mansur, remember the favorite sect of people, these people will come and they're going to be something else. All we can do is ask that we can be part of something, that we be part of a fraternity, and we work for that. There's nothing wrong with that, my brothers and sisters. You should try to do this. Try to do the best you can to be among the Akhlaq Quran. It's hard, yes. In some ways, it's easy, because you know it's sitting there. It's telling you do this, and you can do it. So you work hard. It's just like working out of weights, right? You see the weights over there. You know you can't lift 200 pounds, but you see the weights there is 200 pounds, right? So you begin to work for that. This is how this situation is. It's there for the taking. It's not hidden. It's not confusing. It's there. It's there for the taking. You just have to work for it. But lastly here, and then I'll close. Our Prophet, ﷺ, gave a beautiful hadith about this situation. And he talks about the Quran. And he says here in the Hadith that when the don't make your houses into graves. Now, look how clever our prophet is. He says here, don't make your houses into graves. That's part of it. Okay. Then he says that Shaitan, the devil, okay, basically vacates the premises when you read Surah Bakr, which is the second surah. He's giving you advice to tell you how you keep the Shaitan and Shaitan. Shaitan are the minions of Shaitan, the devil. How do you keep them at bay? By having the Quran read continuously in your house, my brothers and sisters. And if you in the days you don't feel like it, you don't want to read, then listen to it. We have the media today. We have television. You put the Quran on. In the Muslim world, we have this. I think you can do that in the Western world too now. I think with all the modern technology that's happening in the West, we have here, because we're in an Islamic country, we have many Quran recitations. It's easy. It's everywhere. And so you can put it and you can have it. And I love that. There's certain ones I love. I play, especially in the morning after Fajr prayer. I like to have that. I go fix breakfast or something like this. And, I put it on and I love it because Shaitan leaves the premises where the book of Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is being remembered. He does not like that. And he goes away from you. And you see what our prophet said. When the house, don't make your house into grave. What do you mean by that? There's no remembrance of Allah. The house is saddened. The house is sullied. The house is full of turmoil. The house is full of hate and disrespect. And this leads us to the grave, especially us men, because we tend to die quicker than the women. When we have a house that's full of turmoil, it comes like a graveyard. This is true with our prophet. How clever our prophet said this. He said, don't make your houses into graves. And he says by reading the Quran, Shaitan doesn't like that. He leaves, because a lot of our problems inside the home is created by who? The devil. That's true. And most of the times we don't because we're not reciting the Quran much in our house, and we're not listening to it as well being played. And the devil has his way where he sits there and he's among you. He's guiding you. He's helping us to have conflicts. That's his job. That's what he's supposed to do. But when the Quran is being read, he's gone. If you put your TV on, or you put on the smart TV now, and you put the recitation, he doesn't like that. Or you put the Mecca station where you're showing the Kaaba and they recite the Quran all day long, he doesn't like that. He's gone. And now that enemy you have there is lessened, because he cannot attack you as much with the Quran being played. But when you get away from the Quran and recitation of it and implementation of it, enforcing it, now he makes his move on you. And we know how devastating that is. We know that. So my brothers and sisters, this is the end of this particular, the trilogy I had here on the Holy Qur'an. And I hope that you got something out of this, because it's important. And my brother Saeed, I don't know if you are here. Oh, assalamu alaikum, my dear brother Mustafa. My brother here, Mustafa, he lives not too far away from me. And this brother here has been a very, very close friend of mine since I've basically come here, from the United States. And my brother, I don't know if my brother Saeed is still here or not. There's another program that he and I will be on here in another hour and a half, us talking about the Moors. Everybody knows about the Moors, right? And about the color, where they black and so forth and so on. And what about the Moors? Anyway, we'll be covering that, inshallah ta'ala, in about another hour. I think another hour, I guess. This will be on. I don't know if he can put the link. I don't know if he's still here or not. But I may put. See, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I have that or not. I don't have the link to it. But anyway, it's coming on in another hour and a half or so. So my brothers and sisters, as again, I know this type of stuff is mundane. And this is actually for those who really want to practice their faith. There's no glamour into it. And it's something, again, is mundane. But I try to give you something where you can gain knowledge, Islamic knowledge, because the Qur'an and the people of it and the conditions for it is Islamic knowledge. It's real Islamic knowledge. When you gain this, that's real Islamic knowledge. So I try to give you that. Yes, it's mundane. Yes, it's not spectacular. Yes, it's not full of rancor where, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on between people. And, you know, people like entertainment because we're human beings. And Muslims are no different. They like to see entertainment, popcorn and get a soda and drink it and watch a conflict on TV. We know it's not that. So, but I try to give you something where you can gain the Islamic knowledge. Let me see. I'm hoping, I don't know how I can do that. But I wanted to put that link because it's very important, my brothers, that you gain knowledge also through history. And we'll close here. Let me give you some advice on something. Do you know that the Quran is 1/3 history? Do you know that? Subhanahu wa ta'ala has done that for a purpose because he made it so that you can discern from that history and learn from it. One of the important things for the Muslims is to learn what has happened in the past, especially for the Black man. You should understand your role in this because it's been muddied and a lot of times it's been obscure and sometimes it's even whitewashed and swept under the rug. You should understand this. This particular topic has affected and still affects us today about the Moors, because we've had our enemy who now has really done a number on this term. And our history, we have a history about this term and what has happened in this area of my group where I live now. So we're going to talk about that today, inshallah ta'ala, in another hour and a half. And I was trying to get the name of what the sites, what he had, the program. Let me see here. He's got, see if I can, I don't know how to, okay. I don't know how I got to, let me see how I can get, how you can, I don't know how to get the link to get this. But anyway, my brothers and sisters, The Happy Companion, you see his title there. You put that up in YouTube, and his marquee will show, and it'll show me and him on the marquee of this, and it comes on about another hour and a half. This is important for us. And my dear brother, Mr. Uganda, yeah, you're not Muslim. Thank you for the kind words. This channel is for everybody. Anyone who wants to learn about Islam, there's no problem to it. Come and listen, because why? As I've always specified before, the Christians, Jews, and Muslims, we have a lot of similarities. But even the traditional African religions, there are some things that we do here that can help you because you're still a human being. And Subhanahu wa ta'ala has made this book a mercy to mankind, and he's made our prophet a mercy to mankind. And you say, well, you're a fire worshiper, or you say you practice juju, or you say you practice obia or orissa. And so you say, well, Yahya, what are you talking about? Well, if you read the story of our prophet, he made his empire, and we had different peoples in it. We had people who worship fire that lived with the Muslims. We had other people who were believing other things. They still lived under the Muslims, because this is our law that everybody can live with the Muslims, no problem. You can do that and even practice your faith under the Islamic rule. We ain't talking about today. We know what has happened. It's a different situation. But I wanted to put that out, is that the Muslims, we should be ambassadors and to do our best. Now, I know some will say, well, I don't understand this because the Quran makes a lot of references to us. Yes, he does. But if you understand what's happening in the Quran, subhanahu wa ta'ala he's made a condition about people who are disbelievers, those who mainly fight, legislate, and do things against the Muslims who subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about. Why? Because those who's not, they're misguided, yes. But he's hoping that if he gives the order, he can make and soften the heart, and the person will come to Islam to worship, Tawheed, meaning the oneness of subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we as Muslims are supposed to be a beacon of light to help to bring them to us. Those who fight us, those who legislate against us, those who make war against us, we're not talking about that. Subhanahu wa ta'ala is angry with them. That's why he mentions them in here a lot. So I want to make that distinction for somebody, for like our brother here, Mr. Uganda said he's not a Muslim. I want to make sure that he understands that we're not here to go after him. If he's fighting Muslims, that's different. If he's legislating against Muslims, that's different. Then we have to fight our brother. We have to fight him and tell him, hey, you shouldn't do this to us. But when he's not doing that, we should offer our help and guidance to him. So my brothers and sisters, I want to thank my brother Saeed and Mustafa. Thank you, my dear brother. Assalamu alaikum. Fimani alaikum, Mustafa. Shukran jazilan. And Mr. Uganda and my dear sister Amina, thank you very much. I really appreciate you coming, and those in the chat and those who will show up in the future. Again, I know this is mundane, my brothers and sisters, but I try to give Islamic knowledge that will help you to discern and to better your relationship with subhanahu wa ta'ala and to learn some of the deeper aspects of Islam, like the Qur'an, who these people were. And I hope that these 3 lessons I gave you will give you a little bit of a guidance to that. So my dear brothers and sisters, I'll leave you with our beautiful words of Jinnah in the beautiful African Asiatic language. Salamu alaikum, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.